Hey guys, Math 1170. This is going to serve as the midterm study guide. Your exam will be given on my math lab, and what I've done, I've gone on my math lab and put up a midterm study guide assignment. So I'm going to work through that with you. You've seen all these types of problems before. You're going to need your calculator. I'll probably go back and forth. I have a calculator that I can use on the computer, and I also have this one that I can bring in too. So that's what the game plan is. So let's go ahead and get started. If I go to this, you don't see this stuff, but there's going to be a midterm study guide for the semester that I'm putting this up, and now for future courses you're going to have the same thing, and you notice it says for practice only. This doesn't help you per se directly on your grade, although it indirectly, well actually I should say directly it does too, because if you know how to do all these problems coming into the exam on exam day, you're going to, I think you have a better chance of getting a higher score. So alright guys, let's go ahead and do this. A lot of similar types of questions. In fact, all similar types of questions. So the first one starts out with a problem that students typically don't like as well. And I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to get this thing into dual mode. So let's do that. Alright, so what we have first of all is we have at at 46 cents per bushel, the daily supply for wheat is 457, the daily demand is 576. If you come on down, you'll see we want to find the price supply equation, and you'll notice that the P, the price, is the Y value. Think Y equals mx plus B. That's what we're searching for. So the price turns out to be our Y value. So for the very first problem, what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about setting up some ordered pairs. For the supply and the demand. Now, I also know that when I have ordered pairs here, that this is in the form XY. So my price needs to go in the second part of the order pair. So the 0.46 values for the supply and demand are given for both of those. Well, it turns out it's 457 for the supply, and you can see it's 576 for the demand. Now I also have a price of 73 cents. And you can see that the supply increases to 547 and the demand decreases to 441. Now guys, this is we're kind of playing a game here, pretending that this is a test. So I would go back through and make sure I have the 0.46 correctly, make sure I have the 457, make sure I have the 576, make sure I have 547, and make sure I have 441. So all these numbers check out correctly. Now, you can do this different ways. You can you can do it out by hand. You could actually find the equation of the line for the supply. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use technology, because it kind of keeps me honest, if you will. So, gang, what I need to do, let me get this over here a little bit so we can see everything. What I want to do is come into Stat, like I've shown before in previous videos, and I want to clear this out. So guys, remember, hit clear, enter, and not delete. If you do hit delete, here's what's going to happen. It's going to take you literally and completely get rid of the list. You can get it back, just go second function, insert, and go back to L1 and hit enter, and you can put it back. So I'm going to put the supply in first. So I have 457 as one of my X's, and 547 is the other x. Now the price would be 0.46 and the price would be 0.73. So again, stakes are high, so I just want to go back and make sure that I've got everything correctly, because it's just easy to transpose numbers when, especially when you're kind of under the stress, right, of taking a test. Now what I would do next is what I've shown you in the videos. I would come down to linear regression. Then I would go left parentheses L1 comma L2, because that's where I put my two values, my supply and my price. Now I can see that I have 0.003. Alright, so I'm going to come in here and do the price supply. So I'm going to have 0.003. And it tells me to use the variable Q. So I'm going to do what it tells me to do. I'm going to use the variable Q. And then I have minus 0.911. So it says round to 3 decimal places, which I did. And I'll go on to the next problem. Now, what I want to do with the next problem is just simulate exactly what I did for the previous. I want to go to Stat, go to Edit. And now I want the 0.46, but guys, there I want 576 because the supply increased. And I want 441 there with the price of 0.73. All right, so gang, I'm ready to do the next problem. So calc, linear regression, L1 comma L2, and okay, so I've got I have the values there. So guys, I'm going to come in and type that in. So negative 0.002Q. And guys, if you make a mistake on the exam and use an X, I'm going to go through and manually grade all these, so you'll be okay. All right. Next thing we ask is find the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Well, you could do this algebraically. If you do, that's fine. It certainly makes sense. You can also do this with the calculator, and that's what I'm going to do here. Now I'm going to come in and type the 0.03x. Now guys, I'm forced to use the x in this case because I'm speaking to the calculator. All right, so minus, guys, when you give something a negative, make sure you use that one. And I'll tell you what, let me get this, let me see if I can get the quality a little bit better. Okay, so 0.002x, again, don't use Q because you're speaking to a different machine, and this machine needs x's. Now, next thing I have to do, I need to come in and set up my window. And I know I'm dealing with price and number of bushels, so everything's going to be positive. But if I look at my x's range from where? About 457 to 576 to 547 to 441. Well, I want to make my bushels big enough to take care of all of my x's. Since 576 is the biggest, and I'm going to go ahead and look down here, and I see that I've got some question coming up with what kind of, to choose the graph that models this. I'm going to use what they use. I'm just going to go with 700. Well, I'm not really sure why that thing's going insane, but it is. Let's see if we can get that to stop, because that's super annoying. Alright guys, I'm about to shut this down and bring it back up. Alright, teaching online certainly has its challenges from time to time. Okay, then I'm going to come down to my y's. My y's minimum would be 0. And I'm going to look at this graph over here and see, well, it tops out at 1.2, so I'm going to use the same. The main thing I need to keep in mind is my prices go from 0.46 to 0.73. So I don't want anything below 0 because that would make sense for price, and I want to go high enough to where I include both of these numbers. All right. So guys, I can just go to graph now, and I get this. Now those 2 points that you see there are from me teaching a statistics class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, if that bothers you, if it doesn't, don't worry about it, but I'm just going to turn the statistical plots off. And now when I graph, I'm not going to get that annoying point from a previous problem that I worked in a completely different class. Now, you can see that the equilibrium price and the quantity is going to be where these lines cross. So what I can do there, clever little feature in your calculator, if I go to calculate, number 5 is intersect, which is a function you can use in your calculator. And let me interrupt here for a second. Interrupt myself. You can write this down on your cheat sheet. You get a 5-inch by 8-inch note card, and you can write this stuff down on your note card, because there will be one of these problems on your exam. I'll just go ahead and tell you. So if I hit intersect, the first curve, just hit enter. Second curve, just hit enter. You really don't need to make a guess because there's only 2 curves. And just hit enter again. You can see that the intersection, which is going to be the equilibrium point, what we want, that's where for a particular quantity, this is where the supply and the demand would be equal. So we have 504.6, so it says round to the price. Of course, that's going to be the y. So that is going to be 0.6028. So it says round to the nearest cent, so that would be 0.60. And then the number of bushels round to the nearest bushel, so that would be 505. All right, now we come down and we look at the graphs. The only difference we have, you clearly can get rid of D, you can clearly get rid of C, because the supply and the demand, it's the equilibrium point, the red, has to be where the lines cross. So it has to be one of these two. So what we've got to figure out is this blue line the supply and the black line the demand, or is the black line the demand and the blue line the supply? Well, guys, if we go up here, we can see that the price-supply equation has a positive slope. So the supply has to be the one that's going up to the right. The demand has to be the one that has a negative slope, so it's going to it's falling off to the right. So let's just focus on one of these. The supply curve has to have the positive slope. So it looks like to me that the supply blue has to be going this way. So guys, that should be the correct answer. All right? All right, so let's go to the next question. That's going to be the longest question that we have. Solve the equation to 4 decimal places. Guys, you've seen this one before. So let's just work through it. So we have 1.032. Is that 14t? And guys, I'm going to use x because t's sometimes, the way I write them, look like plus signs, and I don't want that. So guys, what I want to do here is I want to take the natural log of both sides. And then I'm going to use that property that I've taught you before that says whatever we have in the exponent, we can bring out front when we're taking the log or natural log of a number. So I can rewrite this as 14x times the natural log of 1.032 equal natural log of 3. Next thing I'd want to do is I'd want to divide both sides by the natural log of 1.032. That leaves me with 14x equal the natural log of 3 over the natural log of 1.032. So the next thing I'd want to do is divide both sides by 14. You guys remember that has to be left as a quantity, okay? So I'm going to divide all that by 14. So guys, ultimately x is going to be equal to all of this if I can put that in my calculator correctly. But guys, you get sloppy there, you're going to get that wrong. You've got to pay attention to the to the way the parentheses are laid out there. So let's get out of here and let's go clear. So I'm going to go parentheses, natural log of 3, divided by the natural log of 1.032. Now I've got to close that parentheses up because of this parentheses right here. I want that whole thing in my denominator. So I have what's called a complex fraction here. I want that whole thing there, that entire expression right there, to be contained in that parentheses because I want all that divided by 14. So I click that and I get 488, and it says round to 4 decimal places. So 488 point, it looks like 2928. Now what I would do if I were you, if I were taking a test and the stakes were high, I would test that out. So I would just, first of all, I would go 14 times that answer. So what I'm doing, I'm starting up here in the denominator. Okay? Now I want to know if 1.032 raised to that answer gives me what I need, which is 3. And it doesn't. So what did we do wrong? Did I see something incorrect here? So, actually I'm kind of glad that happened. What did we do wrong there? Natural log divided by 14. So I must have typed something incorrectly. So let's do this. Let's just take the natural log of 3 divided by the natural log of 1.032. And then I'll divide that by 14. So now I get 2.4. Now, believe it or not, guys, I am actually glad that happened. And I'll tell you why. Because it shows you how, even if you know what you're doing, how quickly something can go wrong. So now let's go 2.4913. Now before hitting the submit, let's try that out. So I want to go 14 times that answer. Now 1.032 raised to that answer should give me 3 if I got the correct answer, and it does. That was an unintended error, but actually it turned out as a teaching tool that I'm glad that happened, because what I did, I just did something silly. All right, so I feel good about that question because it checked out. Now, next thing is a matrix problem. And this kind of problem here gives students fits, but if you remember, if we have ax plus by equals c and dx plus ey equals f, then we can solve this using an augmented matrix by taking what? The coefficients times the variable matrix times that. The solution to this thing is always the augmented matrix that we have right there. And sometimes I draw that dashed line down there. So what does that tell you? What do we have over there? Well, right here, our problem, we have that, don't we? So what that tells me is to find x and y, in this case x1 and x2, all I got to do is I got to put those numbers right here and those numbers right there and do augmented matrix, the augmented matrices techniques that I've taught you in previous videos. Guys, this is going to be super easy. So let's go into edit, and we're going to need a 2 by 3 matrix. So I'm going to have a 1 and a 3 and a 16. and a -2. Guys, when you're given a number a negative, make sure you use this one right here, and don't do something wacky and use the subtraction sign. Now, I'm going to do exactly again what I've taught you in previous videos. Go second function quit. I'm going to clear all this out so it makes it easier for you to see. Matrix, math, go to RREF, which is reduce row echelon form. Then I'm going to go back and get my matrix. And my answer is the numbers in the last two columns. So -5. Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Some of you haven't been watching the videos the way you should, because I keep an eye on it. I see how many people log in and watch them, and it's falling a little short of what it should. Some of you, you're sitting there thinking, well, I didn't know that. Well, you're not watching the videos enough to let me teach you, because this very problem has been demonstrated in a video. All right, so next question. So if log of is at 8, can't even see. Find the value of x without a calculator. Now, I've tried to teach you in the past that these log problems aren't. Let's get this written down before I speak. The answer to that is not intuitively clear to most people. But if you think about what I've told you, and you can transfer this into exponential form, it becomes much easier. Guys, log base 8 of x equal 3 says this. These problems can be in this form, and they are. The log equivalent in exponential form has 3 parts. 1 part, 2 part, 3 part. We just got to know where things go. Guys, remember the answer to a logarithm is always the exponent. This number right here is always the base. The other number right there has to be the answer. So what do we have? We got to put in our calculator 8 raised to the 3rd power, which is 512. Okay, next question. Moving right along. Farmer buys a new tractor for $152,000. Assumes that the trade-in value of $85,000 after 10 years, uses a constant rate of depreciation. Find the annual value of the tractor. Okay. So guys, what this is telling me, well, we're going wacky again, so let's shut this thing down. I don't know why that's doing that, but it's annoying. Okay, so what I see is, I come down again, kind of looking at what they want. So I'm finding the depreciated value V. So my value is my Y value. So I know that my price needs to go as the Y. So when this person buys it, again, this is T years after it was purchased. Well, guys, the purchase value has to be when T is equal to 0. So we would have an order pair 0, 152,000. It has a trade-in value of $85,000 after 10 years. No, I'm sorry, it's 85,000, my bad. So I need to find the equation that passes through those 2 points. Well, guys, again, I'm just going to do it the way that I've taught you before, because I've taught mathematics long enough to know that students just struggle with linear equations. They just do. So 152,000 and then 85,000. So guys, what did we do before? Stat, calc, linear regression, L1, comma, L2, and we get our answer. Now we're expecting a negative slope here because the value per year decreases. So I'm going to have what, negative 6,700. You guys, it wants us to put it in terms of t and not x, so I'm going to use t there. And my intercept, as I would have expected, was 152,000. So what is the depreciated value after 6 years? Well, I just need to put 6 into this. All right, so if I put 6 into this, I'm going to have minus 6,700 times 6 plus 152,000. So my depreciated value is 111,800. When will the depreciated value fall below 40,000? Well, what I need to do there is I need to see when my value will be 40,000. Now I'm going to use x just because, again, t's look a lot like pluses when I write them that way. So gang, the first thing I'd want to do is I'd want to subtract 152,000 from both sides. Just so I don't make any silly mistakes. So I have negative 112,000 on the left side. Have this on the right. So I want to divide both by now I'm not going to worry about the negative. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so I can just worry about the 112 divided by 6,700, which is not right. All right. So it's going to be in the 16th year. But it doesn't happen in the 16th year. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen at the 16th year. It happens, well, okay, wait a minute, during, okay, so that would be the 16th, yeah. So it happens during the 16th year. Now graph this, and what we can see is clearly B can't be, and it looks like, after 10 years, our depreciated value is 85,000. So if I come over here to 10 and come up there, I should come across to about 85,000. See, here I don't. This graph right here would say at 10 years the depreciated value is 0. Plus it doesn't start high enough to accommodate for this 152,000. So gang, I feel really good about C. All right, appliance sales for 250,000, a 15-inch TV and a 19-inch TV sells for 500. During a 1-week period, the store sold 3 more 19-inch. What was the total number of TV sets? All right, so let's do what I've taught you here. We'll set this up, and then we'll use matrices to solve the problem. So I'm going to let X equal the number of 15-inch TVs. And I'm going to let Y be the number of 19-inch TVs. All right? So price plus price plus price will have to equal price. Well, hold on. Price plus price will have to be equal to price. So since these things sold for $250, I can take the number I sold times 250. And then I can take the number of 19-inch TVs I sold times 500, and that would have to be the total amount that was brought in. Now, during a 1-week period, the store sold 3 more 19-inch TVs than 15-inch TVs. So what that tells me is the number of 15-inch TVs that I sold, or that they was sold, plus 3 will be equal to the number of 19-inch TVs. Now, a lot of people get that backwards. They'll put, since reading from left to right, it'll say that the number of 19-inch TVs are 3 more, but that doesn't make an equation. That makes a verbal statement. To make 2 things equal, I've got to take the smaller amount and add to it how much more, how much bigger this one is than that. You know, let's just say they sold, 12 of these, and it says that they sold 3 more of those, so that means there'd be 15. Well, to make this number equal to that number, what do I have to do? I have to add 3 to the one that there was less sold of. I know that grammatically is going to drive you crazy, but I hope you get the point. Now what I got to do is I got to put this in terms of my x's, my y's, and my constants. So the first one is okay. Now my x is on the left side, that's fine. But my y needs to come over here and be in with its kind, all right? And then my 3 needs to go over and be over there with its kind. Well, it's going to be -3 when it goes across. So gang, the augmented matrix that I need to solve is this one right here. So I need a 2 by 3. So I got 250, 500, 18,000, 1, -1, and -3. All right, quit. Go back to matrix. Go to math, RREF. Go back to matrix and get the matrix that I want. 22 and 25. So the total number of TV sets sold is what? Well, if I sold 22 15-inch and 25 19-inch, well, I've sold a total of 47 TVs. All right, gang, in the first 10 years, a mutual fund produced an average annual return of 21.71. Assume the money invested continues to earn 21.71 compounded annually. How long will it take the money invested in this fund to double? All right. It reads a little weird, but it's clear after you think about it. Now we have a formula that I've given you. And again, this is our ending balance, this is our starting balance, this is our rate, this is the number of times per year compounded, number of times per year compounded, and the number of years. I know whatever I start out with has to be double, because this is the problem we're working. So I know this P has to be 2p. My rate is given. I have a compounded annually. So I have 1t. Now I can clean that up. I can clean that up. I can divide both sides by p, because p can't be 0. I can clean that up. Now, I need to solve that, because we can easily do that with logarithms. Remember the property? If we got an exponent, we can bring that out front. I want to isolate my t. So t is going to be the natural log of 2 divided by the natural log of 1.2171. So round up to the nearest year. So we have about 3.5 years, so round up to the nearest year, so that would be 4 years. All right, gang, we're getting there. Solve the equation. Guys, these are the ones you just lick your chops at. When you have base E, it's a no-brainer. Use your natural log key. When you have base 10, no-brainer. Use your log key. When you have a base of anything other than that, use the technique that I just showed you in the previous problem to solve the problem. Okay? All right, so I mean, let's just play this through, and let me just not do the problem, but show you why this works. If I take the natural log of both sides, what happens right here? Natural log of E is what? 1. So guys, that just goes away. I don't have to do anything. This is a cool problem. All I got to do is just put that sucker in my calculator. Make sure I don't make a silly mistake and type something in wrong going to the next problem. So I need 4 places, so I have 0.9843. And let's get this one behind us. Now, same thing right here. Base 10, right? There's nothing to do. It's a kind of, again, you lick your chops at, because if I take the log of the left side and the log of the right side, now if I take the natural log of 10, I get into some wacky stuff. But if I take the log of 10, that's just 1. Again, exponent, bring it out front. Log of 14. Now you're sitting there thinking, now, Darbyl, how do I know log of 10 is 1? Well, I don't know. Let's just, maybe I'm telling you a lie. I'm not telling you a lie. Log of 10, what's it tell you? Base 10. You're asking yourself, to what power do you raise 10 to get 10? Natural log up here, to what power do you raise E to get E? It's just the first power. Okay. So guys, all I got to do is just make sure I hit the log key and not the natural log, put in a 14, and life is good. I don't know about life is good, but this problem's good because you're going to get it right. Alrighty. 10th question, rewrite the expression log base 2, 8 equal 3. Guys, I just taught you that, so who was paying attention and who made it happen? Log base 2 of 8 equals 3. 3 parts here. What goes where? The answer always goes in the exponent. The base always goes at the base of the exponent. The other answer goes right there. So guys, I'm going to need to go in here and I'm going to need to use a 2. Well, the first thing I need to do, I need to come over here and choose the subscript. No, I don't. All right, so let's undo that. So let's start out with a 2. Then come in and use the, get your right arrow, equals 8. Easy stuff, guys, if you just let me teach you. All right, the product X units of religious metal cost, revenue given, both are in dollars. Find the break even. Well, guys, the break even between your revenue equals your cost. So I need 18x plus 84 to be equal to 32x. Well, I'm going to subtract 18x from both sides. You can probably do a little bit of mental math too. So divide both sides by 14. Break even, okay. So I need 84. So 6 units. Find the profit for $3.90. Now guys, remember, profit is my cost function. As I said, profit is my revenue function minus my cost function. So my revenue is 32x. My cost function is the entire quantity, this entire expression. Must distribute the negative sign. So 14x minus 84. So my profit for 390 units is going to be putting 390 in there. And what do we have next? Minus 84. So profit is 53.90. Now, how many units will make a profit of 140? Well, we need this 14x. To give us a profit of what, 140? So this is going to be easy to solve too. Add 84 to both sides. So this will give us what, 224? Divide by 14. So 16 units. I'm not sure how many more problems we have, but this is running into kind of a long study session. That's okay. All right, local election number, so we've got cost and we've got telephone house. So total spent in A. Now, let's think about this. Let's call that first matrix over here A, and let's call the second matrix B. Now, the size of the first matrix is a 3 by 1. And the size of the second matrix is a 2 by 3. So guys, to multiply these two matrices, those two numbers in the middle have to be the same. The columns of the first matrix has to be the same as the rows of the second matrix. So A times B makes no sense. Now, if I go B times A, this is 2 by 3. This is 3 by 1. Life is good, and it's going to produce a 2 by 1 matrix. Now, what are these values going to represent? Total amount spent, right? So this will be our city, and then this will be our total. So let's, we could multiply these out, but I'd prefer not to. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go ahead and put these in as I see them. So I'm going to put this in as A, and it needs to be a 3 by 1. So I have $1 and 2.9 and 1.25. All right, so let's quit and go back in. This time I want to edit matrix B, the second one. Guys, it needs to be a 2 by 3. So I have 1100, 400, 5500, 1800, 700, and 6000. Now, when I get out of here, what I need to do is the way I put it in my calculator, I need to make that B times A. So I'm going to go to my matrix, and I'm going to go get B. And I'm going to multiply it by matrix A. And I get 9135. And the total amount for B was 11,330. All right, evaluate the expression log base 41 of 668. I love this problem because it really makes you, this really determines whether or not you know much about logarithms or not. So log 41, 6668 is equal to some value. Now guys, remember again, you got 3 boxes. So what we got? The answer to a logarithm problem is always your exponent. The base is always the number that the exponent is raised to. The other number is left in the remaining box. We'll take the natural log of both sides. Again, use the trick. It's not really a trick, it's a property. Divide both sides by the natural log of 41. So x is going to be the natural log, 6668, divided by the natural log, 41. So my answer, and it says to go to 6 decimal places. Well, that's weird. All right, we want to get it right, so let's play their game. So 37, 105, and it's either going to be 27 or 2a to be 27 because the next value is 4. Okay, apparently that's what it needs, so that's what we'll give it. Now I'm going to check this out. I've got a chance. You've got a chance to check these things to see if they're reasonable. So what I need here is I need 41 to be raised to that number. And if I worked it out right, it should be 6668. And it is, so I feel good about that question. Write the equation in equivalent exponential form. Well, guys, we should be pretty good at this one now. The base raised to the exponent equals 1. I graph the equation. Now, guys, what I got there is something. What I would do there is I would work this problem this way. Okay. I would use x-intercepts and y-intercepts. Anytime I have something where both of these first numbers divides into that number, I'm going to use x and y-intercepts. Now, x-intercepts are where the line crosses the x-axis. The location. Does it cross there? Does it cross there? The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. Does it cross here? Does it cross there? Where does it cross? Well, guys, I could come in here and find the x-intercept just by setting the y equals 0, which means it goes away. So I can do mental math. 14 divided by 7 gives me 2. So I know the x-intercept has to be 2. The y-intercept, mental math. Again, that's why it's important that these two numbers divide equally into that, or evenly. So it's 7. Well, there's only one line that goes through those 2 points. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to click the line tool, and I am going to go up to 70, and I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to go to 02, and I'm going to click it, and I am going to well, let me go to the next question. Oh, there is no other question. Okay. So I'm done. So I'm going to submit the test. And what did we get? We got an 89.17. Well, let's go back and see what happened. Question 13. What did we do wrong there? So the correct answer, wow, I am so glad this happened. So So I went 2, 4, I went 6 places. Now, what this does, really guys, I'm so glad this happened. Notice we got the question right, didn't we? Sort of. We went out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Apparently we went out 7 places. But I lost all credit on that. Now, again, I didn't aim to do that, but I'm super, super, super happy it did. Because what I will do after you submit your exam is I'll go through and grade things, and I can come up and hover over your answer, and I can see what you answered, and I can see what the correct answer should be. So that was just a rounding issue, so you would get full credit for that. Now, what else do we miss? Miss number 11. So it looks like there was an issue here. So I got a little sloppy and missed something. What else do we miss? Number 5. So it wanted us to round up there. And again, what I would do is I would go through and give credit there. So you think about it. I remember the answer was like 16.68. So that is actually in the 17th year. So it's, yeah, a little technical there. So we missed something there. I don't know what it was. It'd be worth going back and looking at it. No, that wasn't the one. Let's see if we can figure out what we missed here. Number 13. That was a rounding issue. Number 11 is the one. Let's see if we can figure that one out. So the profit is the revenue minus the cost. So the revenue is 32Q, 18Q plus 84. So 14Q minus 84, all right? So the profit for 390 units. Well, I'm just plugging away there and nothing's showing up. 14 times 390 and minus 84, right? Yeah. So 5376. Where did we get 5390? I got to go back into my notes. That's entertaining. 5390. Okay. Well, I do not know. I don't see it anyplace. Well, I guess it just shows we're all human. Apparently, I guess we could go back and watch the video. You guys may have been screaming at me while I was working the video, but so what I would do there, if I were coming through, I would give partial credit because if you got that close, it seems to me it's probably just something minor. So guys, that was a rounding issue. You would have gotten full credit when I manually graded. So the final on this would have been extremely high grade, probably about a 98 or 99. All right. So guys, that's all I got. If I did any little typos or anything that led to a incorrect answer, still don't know what I did there, but we certainly did something. All right, gang, have a good one.